Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. Just thought I'd return to you for a album review tonight for Rob Thomas's All Night Days, the album that came out September 5th. I didn't get a chance to review it this past weekend because of other reviews I was getting around to and other things that were happening outside of YouTube, like other responsibilities I had to take care of at home. So I've been a little busy. But other than that, I got the time to listen to this record, so I'm going to discuss what I listened to for the 11 songs on this Rob Thomas album, All Night Days, and let you know my thoughts on this almost 33-minute record in its entirety. So let's dive into this album review. Now, this is a pretty short album, but it starts with Hand in My Hand, which is a pretty strong track. I really dig this track. Rob Thomas sounds really good vocally in this track, and I really like the melody to it. It's pretty upbeat and positive, so I really dig it. And the execution, it definitely landed with this track, so 5 out of 5. All Night Days, the title track, is definitely a favorite of mine. It's going to go down as one of the best tracks on the record, so it's a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed the title track to the name of the album, and it overall executed well with Rob Thomas's singing potential and just the way this track flowed. It definitely flowed when the chorus kicked in, and I really dig it. So 5 out of 5. Hard to Be Happy is a good song, but it's probably the least favorite of the other tracks. This track kind of gets a little corny at times, but it does have a nice message behind it. So I dig it, but it's a good song in its own way. So this is a 4.5 out of 5. Still a good track, just I have a few critiques with how it's sounding overall. Some of the mixing and production can get a little corny at times, but with the message behind the track, I can definitely relate in a way. But other than that, the song is definitely a good song in its own way. 4.5 out of 5. I Believe It is a pretty good song in its own way. Rob Thomas's vocals in this track sounded pretty good, but with the execution of the melody, there were some critiques I had with this track, but nothing to the extent where I'm giving it a terrible rating, so 4.75 out of 5 for I Believe It. Thrill Me is a pretty good song in its own way. I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5 for this one, too. I do dig it, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily my favorite track on the record, but it is a highlight for the record, so it's memorable in a way. So 4.75 out of 5. Picture Perfect did have a nice melody to it, but there was some cheesiness with how Rob Thomas was singing it when the chorus kicked in and the pre-chorus. It mostly the pre-chorus. It just going into the chorus. It had its cheesy moments, mostly with the pre-chorus, but overall, it's an alright track. So 4.75 out of 5. Machine was actually a really good song. I really dig this one. Does have a good upbeat melody, and definitely uh, is a catchy track too. So I really enjoyed this track. I was trying to follow along with the song while I was listening to it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I do dig it. So it's enjoyable. So 5 out of 5 for this track. No Good at Loving You is the 8th song on the record, and it's overall a solid track. I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5. I think Rob Thomas's vocals and the melodic melody to it sounds pretty solid. So it's a good track in its own way, and it's going to get a 4.75 out of 5. Pretty good song in its own way, but does have a little execution flaw with how the structure of the track is flowing. Ghost is a pretty good song in its own way. It's only like 2 minutes and 45 seconds, so you're not in for a very long track. The last 3 tracks are very short, keep in mind. So this is a 4.75 out of 5 for this one. I do dig it with how Rob Thomas sings it, and overall execution wise, it played it safe. So 4.75 out of 5. Losing My Mind is a pretty good song, but it's under 2.5 minutes. It's close to 2.5 minutes, but it's 2 minutes and 28 seconds. But overall, with the execution, it's got a nice melody to it, so it's solid enough. 4.75 out of 5, I'd give this track. Back to the Start is a nice track to close out the record, and it overall sounds pretty solid from what I listened to. And yeah, it's a pretty good song. I think the melody sounded nice. Rob Thomas's singing was pretty nice vocally, and execution-wise, this track did very well. So 4.75 out of 5. Not the best track, but it is a highlight to the record. So overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I think Rob Thomas All Night Days was a good record in its own way. I was really impressed with this record. Will be on my decent to good albums of 2025 by the end of the year. I wish it could have been on the best albums, but it didn't make the cut for this one. The last record did from 2019. But overall, I think it was Chip to Smile is what the album's name was that I reviewed back in 2019. So it's been like 6 years since he's dropped material, and I'm glad he dropped this new album back on September 5th, and it is enjoyable. It is an enjoyable listen. A good listen for sure, and definitely something I'd recommend to you guys if you want something new and nice melodies, nice harmonizing, nice overall upbeat melody, just to put you in a more positive mood. So this does have a feel good kind of uh, album. It's a feel good kind of album to lift your spirits up in a way. So if I were to give Rob Thomas All Night Days a score, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. It's a good record. Sorry, my nose is itchy right now. That's why I'm rubbing it. It was just very itchy. So it's a good record. I would recommend checking this album out if you want something that's going to brighten your day in a way. This is the album for you. So 8 out of 10 for Rob Thomas All Night Days. I will be returning to you for a review I did not want to do, but might as well, just to get views for it. Just to fuck with AJR in a way. So you'll be seeing that review very soon. Keep in mind for the EP review of their new EP that came out September 5th. And I did review one of their new songs, The Big Goodbye, but you'll see what I think of the record when I listen to it. The 5-track EP overall. So it's only a short album, but I can get it done pretty soon. So 8 out of 10 for Rob Thomas All Night Days. I hope you enjoyed this album review tonight, and thank you guys for watching.